Hey guys, and welcome to Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in this video, I'm going to be telling you the guys why personal development and self-improvement is important. Now, firstly, let's define our terms. Firstly, let's get our terms straight. What is personal development? What is self-improvement? Well, a lot of the times, the definitions are in the words themselves. Self-improvement, improving yourself, but improving how? By increasing the capabilities of all areas of life: physically, mentally, socially, spiritually, financially. That's a big one. Socially, you know what I mean? That's what self improvement is. And personal development is the pursuit to feel fulfilled within our own skin, to feel comfortable in our own skin, to feel valued, to self validate ourselves and stop seeking external validation from other people. That is the definition of what this is. And this is what mainly drives the topics of my channel: personal development and self-improvement in all aspects of life: physically, mentally, socially, financially, etc., etc. But those are mainly the only ones that I can think of right now. So let's start off with spiritually. Being spiritually free. Now, first of all, before I even say anything or even go anywhere, my name is Elias. And I am 20 years old, turning 21 years old. And my goal with this channel is to help everyone, especially men, improve themselves in all areas of life, especially young adults, especially my generation in particular, because I was born in 2004. Anyway, now that that's out of the way, let's start with the first one: spiritually. Improving spiritually means that you are being enriched in matters of your religion, in matters of whether you're Christian, whether you're whatever religions there are out there. Is being in touch with your spiritual self, praying, meditating, and all that, and all these rituals that we do based on what our religion is, so that we can actually be abundant in this area of life spiritually. I won't touch on it because I'll end up speaking for the whole day, but that's basically what spiritually, that's what it is. And it depends on what you want. If you don't want to be spiritual, it's your choice. If you want to be spiritual, it's also your choice. No one's forcing you to do that. It's up to you. You have to decide. You're not forced to do this. Now, let's move on to the other sector of our lives. Oh, sorry about that. Let's move to another sector of our lives, which is physically. Now, I know you may be looking at me and saying, but Elias, you're not abundant in any of these areas right now. I know physically and on the surface it may not look like that, but I know I have the potential to be abundant in all aspects of life. In all aspects of life that exist. So let's talk about physically. Physically, we all know: going to the gym, exercising, constantly moving, taking care of yourself, eating the right foods, having a conducive diet, anything physical, like, taking care of your physical body, bathing, getting your hair cut, and all that. Everything physical. This is basically everything physical. Everything that's on the surface. Because what I notice is that with everything that is physical, there's more to what meets the eye. I know there's more to what meets the eye, but first impressions last forever. And a lot of the times, first impressions are based off what we see externally, especially for men. But basically, not facial expression. The first impression is based off what we see on the outside, your physical self. Because when I look at you for the first time, I don't know you. I don't know your insides, but I can see your outsides. So improving physically also helps with that, because it also conducive to I'm already forming judgments about you for the first 30 seconds I'm seeing you. It's a fact. There's been studies published on this that we form. I don't remember how many the seconds were, but we already form a judgment about you based on the few seconds of seeing you. which is called the first impression. And let's move on to another one. Financially. Financial pursuit, I can do a whole video on this. Especially, I can do a whole video on all these different sectors that I just mentioned. So if you'd like me to go deeper in all these videos, in all these different sectors, you can comment down below. But financially is when you have more than you need. I don't think that there's a certain number that we must all reach in order for us to call ourselves financially successful. If you see making $100,000 a year, you can live a great life at $100,000 a year, or at least now you can. We don't all have to. That's one thing I noticed. We don't all have to chase $1 billion. Not everyone wants to be a billionaire. Not everyone wants to be a millionaire. Not everyone wants to be a trillionaire. You know what I mean? So when it comes to finances, you just have to find what works for you. Because remember, we have to feel fulfilled in this life. That is something that is worth way more than money. Fulfillment, you know what I mean? Because as much as there are people who don't have money that are unfulfilled, there are also people who have money and still unfulfilled. But at the same time, financially is when we have more than what we need. Financial abundance. That's what abundance is. Having more than what we need. So if my goal in life is to reach $100 million net worth, and I reach $250 million, I'm abundant financially because I have more than I need. You know what I mean? Based on what I want as a person. We have to decide what you want. What's your golden number? What's your ideal net worth? I can tell you my own. I one day wish to have 1 billion, to be worth $1 billion. That's just me. You know what I mean? Financial. Of course, I do not yet know how I'm gonna achieve that, but we're getting there. This video is very calm. I'm not doing any edits, no crazy stuff. I'm back. I've gone for quite a while, so now I'm back, and I'm glad to be back. I'm a bit tired, so don't mind my slowness and all that. I'm not high or anything. Let's move on to the next sector of self-improvement sectors, which is spiritual, financial, physical, social. Social is how we interact with people. That's basically it. Interact with people, physically, spiritually. When it comes to energy, how do we exchange that with other people? How do we hold ourselves in social situations or in social environments? So let's move on to the next sector, which is mentally or psychologically. Mental health is a very important topic, especially for us men, because a lot of the times we just keep quiet when something's bothering us, or we have something that we need to take off our chest, and that eats us in the inside. That's why I find that men are now killing themselves, hanging themselves, committing suicide, because we don't voice out. That's the problem with us men. We don't talk, and I think we should talk, especially in spaces that are very safe. We should learn to voice out what's eating us inside. But at the same time, we might be afraid to voice out, because when we do voice out, that gets used against us. Now we're seen as weak, incapable, soft, a deadbeat, and all that. And that's probably one of the reasons why we don't usually talk. So that is basically it for today's video. I am glad to be back. I'm grateful to be back. Road to 1,000 subscribers for now. The overall goal is like, I don't know, maybe 100 million. But for now, just 1,000 subscribers. And I hope that I could achieve that by the I don't have a specific timeline to it though. But I do believe that anything can happen. but road to 1000 subscribers. I'm grateful for each and every single one of you for taking your time into watching my videos. It really does mean a lot. Thank you so much for 100 subscribers. Let's get it. Comment down below which videos you would like to see next. Any videos you would like to see. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next video.